It was officially announced yesterday on Pokemon.com, the 2014-2015 format, including the rotation and the new extended format. So the season actually started a few days ago. We have been having some league challenges start up, and the tournament organizers of league challenges have already been given the option as far as what format they want to run. They can run the current format, preparing for Worlds, or they can run the black and white on format, which is our new extended format, which I'm about to go over. But the normal rotation for just the standard format goes into effect on 9/3, that's September 3rd, and we're about to go over that as well. So the new format is this extended format. So like I said, it's already being allowed at some tournaments, some league challenges. They're still pretty vague about how this is actually going to work, but from what they have on the Pokemon tournament website right now is that tournament organizers of all sizes, so league challenges, regional, states even, are going to be given the option of this. Now, I'm sure they're going to be giving out more details later, but for right now, that's what we know confirmed by Pokemon. Now, there have also been some, or has been some discussion that for regionals, Day 1 would likely be a standard format, while Day 2, and only the top usually 32 players from Day 1 move on to Day 2. But during that Day 2, that's when extended format's going to come in. So you can actually change your deck, or you can stick with the deck you've been playing. Like I said, though, that hasn't been confirmed by Pokemon, but that's what's going around. So we'll see soon if that actually works out and is made official from the Pokemon people. So on to, so otherwise, the extended format, I think most of you already heard about it, is black and white on. That includes base set black and white through the current sets, includes all the black and white promos, and the X and Y promos as well. So the new rotation, that's what everyone's been wondering about. Is it going to be X and Y on, Plasma on, or what we end up getting, Boundaries Crossed on. Now that is also including promos from the Black and White series number 55 and on, as well as all the X and Y promos. And I think the McDonald's promos are allowed as well. I don't remember if they were on the list. So for now, we're just going to go with these promos. And now we're going to dive into exactly what we lost. So obviously, I'm not just going to list all the cards that we're going into, but these are the most playable cards pretty much from all the sets. And if you see anything that I messed up on, significantly forgot to include, post it down below, and hopefully we'll get some good thumbs up and everyone will see your comment. So right now I'm just going to kind of list them off. Oh, hold on. So here we go. For the next Destiny set, which is the oldest of the sets that we're losing Heavy Ball, Level Ball, Sky Arrow Bridge, Prism Energy, Regigigas EX, which really hasn't been seen a lot of play since CMT, and the Foul Plays Roark, another card that really hasn't been seeing much play. So obviously the biggest things that we're losing here are the Energy, the Stadium, and the Search Balls. From Dark Explorers, now this is a huge set that we're losing. We're losing, some of the teched-in EXs. Entei, Kyogre, Raikou, Groudon. Darkrai is still playable because it was reprinted in Legendary Treasures. Any card that has been reprinted in a legal set, you can use older copies of. Other cards that we lost from this set, Sableye, Dark Patch, and Enhanced Hammer. So those are all, Enhanced Hammer's been more of a tech card recently, but Dark Patch and Sableye are huge in Dark decks, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit later, how that's going to likely play out. From Dragons Exalted, we have a big list of cards that we lost. Roserade was a big search card for Virizion decks. Ho-Oh EX saw its time here and there, hasn't really been used recently. Same with Trakian, Registeel, Gabite, Garchomp decks really haven't been big. Bouffalance, we're probably going to miss that one. Tool Scrapper, not so much since Megaphone has been released. Giratina EX, again, that was more of a tech card. Rayquaza EX, yeah, that's a huge card that we're losing, and I'll go over that a bit a little later. And then we're also losing both Blend Energies. So if you've noticed, we've lost both Blends and the Prism Energy. We do have Rainbows, but still, that's kind of a huge loss. And the other pretty much promo cards that we lost, Super Rod, which was originally, I think, was it Noble Victories, but was reprinted in the Dragon Ball set, which was legal last season, but no longer legal. That's a card that I'm really going to miss. I love like a one of Super Rod in almost every deck. And Tropical Beach. So this is... a lot of people in the community are really excited about this. Tropical Beach has been, a $100 to $200 card all season, just because of how crucial it is in setup decks, especially Blastoise and Raybor. And with this being rotated out for the standard format, really lets newer players get back on an even playing field with everyone else. So now we're going to go over some of the bigger decks that we expect to see we've been expecting to see over the past few months, and how they're going to be affected by the rotation. First one's easy. Raybor. It lost Rayquaza EX, so essentially Raybor does not happen anymore. You can still add Emboar with other fire-type Pokemon, but with Blacksmith in this format, Fire already has some energy acceleration without Emboar. Emboar has a high retreat cost. It's a stage 2, so it's not easy to set up. And if you can, set up your Fire Pokemon with a supporter instead, that's, very, very ideal. A Charizard, for example, it's been working fine with just variations of Pyro and Raichu. Some use Fiery Torch, some haven't. Either way, Blacksmith is being used in them, and Emboar really has not been seen with our Fire-type Pokemon anymore. So the next deck that I wanted to cover was Flygon, and Flygon hasn't really been getting that much attention, but it topped 8 at Nationals this year and is looking to be a pretty good contender for Worlds. But this is likely the last time that we're really going to see Flygon being played in major events. It lost Excelgor, which, that's kind of the whole lock part. Tropical Beach, which helps it set up, and if you don't have the lock up, you can just Tropical Beach every turn to ensure you're drawing any of your max potions to keep your Flygons alive, and then of course Level Ball for searching. Level Ball is fairly easy, it's just a search card. We can add in other Ultra Balls, and likely we'll be getting other search cards in the future. But without the Excelgor, you kind of have to find something new to pair with it to actually add damage. So Flygon's probably going to turn more into a roguish type deck. You might see it with something like Palkia that attacks and then it runs back to the bench so it can hide behind a Flygon. But yeah, I really don't think we're going to see Flygon as a top tier deck, at least over the next few months, unless another card that kind of has the same effect as Excelgor or something, even more effective, comes out to make that better. The next deck we're going to go over are Plasma variants. So pretty much anything with Deoxys, Thundurus, Lugia, Kyurem, Absol, any of those. Big cards that they lost, the Special Energy, Prisms, and Blends, which really allowed Plasma variants to be very techable. If you wanted to throw in an Absol, if you wanted to attack with Deoxys, all of that was possible. Now, we do still have Rainbow Energy, so essentially, you're probably going to swap in your as many of the Special Energies for, 4 Rainbows, and then we're probably going to see some Basic Energy, which you're going to have to pretty much decide, if you're running a heavy Kyurem count, obviously include more Water Energy, running a heavy Thundurus count, include Lightning. So I definitely don't think the Plasma's dead. That deck will definitely be hanging around for quite a while. Next one that I thought I'd touch on, Charizard Pyro. This deck is pretty much brand new from the latest set, so it's made of mostly brand new cards, and because of that, it's really unaffected by the rotation. Level Ball is really the only card that it loses. And like I said before with some of the other decks, it's a search card. You pretty much just increase your Ultra Ball count. There's other balls out there too, and I'm sure we'll be seeing other various search options being played. So I don't expect to see Charizard Pyro really take a hit anytime soon. The other one, Empoleon. Empoleon's been around for years. It just kind of keeps on hanging in there, keeps on changing, tweaking for the current metagame. And it pretty much just runs into the same problem that Charizard Pyro is running into. it's losing level ball, so it's losing some search, which gives it a little bit of speed. Now, I also included this fun little Jolteon tech, which if you've been watching some of my PTCGO videos, you've seen that when I play Empoleon, I play like a 2-2 line of Jolteon, which allows me to one-shot Eviltalls. Great tech, absolutely loved it, but that is from the Dark Explorer set, so it is going to be rotated out. I didn't include it on the notable cards list just because not many people really played it, and I just kind of included it to be a fun little thing. So the next deck, Eviltall variants. This is a big one. Eviltall variants have been, ruling nationals. It was... if you couldn't, if you didn't feel confident that your deck could beat Eviltall going into Nationals, you might as well not even play it. But Eviltall is losing quite a bit with this rotation. Dark Patch, Sableye, and Enhanced Hammer. Enhanced Hammer is more of just a tech card, so the biggest thing is Dark Patch and Sableye. And I don't really know what to say. Even if Dark Patch is really what gave Eviltall the speed. You could Ultra Ball away your Dark Energies and get them back on. You could have a T2 Eviltall hitting for, well over 100. And Sableye just helped you conserve those resources. Sableye meant that you could run one-ofs, one Enhanced Hammer, one Max Potion, stuff like that, and, be able to throw it away early in the game or use it early in the game and still have access to it later on. Without that, I'm really curious to see how Eviltall is going to fare. This one, Blastoise, one of my favorite decks. Blastoise has been, well, I should have put this on the list too. Level Ball, it does lose Level Ball search. But the biggest thing that it loses is Tropical Beach. It's a stage 2 deck. It really needs Tropical Beach to help set it up. But the good thing is that now with Furious Fist coming out, we will have Seismitoad EX, and we'll go over Seismitoad a little bit later. But it essentially can get you an item lock turn 1, which may give you the time to get Blastoise set up without the need for Tropical Beach. Blastoise is also really going to have to focus on running an Electrode line to prevent, late game ends just absolutely crushing it. But really, I think Seismitoad's going to be the big one for setup. Anything to slow down your opponent. Seismitoad, Suicune, anything like that. Something that slows them down enough so that you can get set up without having to rely on Tropical Beach. And the last deck that I'm going to cover as far as the current format, Fairies. And this includes pretty much any kind of Aromatisse variant. Most of them run some sort of Xerneas or Kangaskhan. And again, this is a pretty new deck, so it really doesn't lose too much. Level Ball's the biggest one. I really don't expect this deck, though, to take off any more than it already has and be very competitive. It's going to be a lower tier deck, but still probably going to be a lot of fun. So now I'm going to go over a couple anticipated decks, things that have been getting a lot of hype with the talk about the release of Furious Fist, and that with rotation I thought should be mentioned. So the first card, Seismitoad EX. I think we're going to see quite a few variations of Seismitoad EX. The first variation, I think, is going to be Garbodor. So what Seismitoad does, I believe it's for a DCE, is it does 30 and prevents your opponent from using trainers. So essentially, you can get that trainer lockout turn 1, get the Garbodor out on the bench by turn 2, and your opponent can't use items or abilities now. I mean, talk about just breaking a deck to pieces. I'm curious to see what we're going to see as far as mirror matches. It is weak to grass, so it is going to have a bit of a hard time against Venusaur. The other card I can see it being paired with, and which I kind of touched on, is Blastoise decks. And not necessarily as the main attacker. I think really Seismitoad is just going to be kind of a stall tactic to slow your opponent down to let you get set up. But and then you retreat back and blow them up with Black Kyurem and Keldeo once you have everything perfect. And the only reason I'm kind of mentioning Blastoise is because the next decks that we are anticipating, all things fighting. So Furious Fist is very much like Flashfire, revolved around fire. Furious Fist is revolving around fighting. And we're getting a ton of fighting cards, and that's just giving power to the already pretty much broken Landorus EX. Now we have Strong Energy, which adds, I believe, 20 to your attacks. So on your first turn, before with Landorus, you're just doing 30 to the active and 30 to the bench. With a strong energy, you're now doing 50 to the active. Fighting Stadium adds another 20. You're now doing 70 to the active. Focus Slash, and this, I'm curious to see how much Focus Slash is going to get played. When it's attached and your Pokemon is about to be, it would normally be knocked out by an attack. If Focus Slash is attached, its HP instead goes down to 10 and it's not knocked out. So that, I think, is going to be a huge thing for Landorus surviving water decks, like Blastoise and Seismitoad and stuff like that. Focus Slash, I think, is going to be, I'm thinking we're going to see some play. So Megaphone is going to be a necessity, at least a 2 of in pretty much every deck. We've had Landorus around for a while, so I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that does. Lucario EX is one of the first cards in a while to get printed with 3 attacks, and 3 pretty decent attacks, so I'm sure we'll find some Lucario variants out there. And then there's some setup fighting Pokemon. There's just all sorts of fighting things in the format right now. We'll probably even see the return of some Stunfisks. And then, of course, we've got the supporter, Karina, which is essentially Skyla, but you also get a fighting Pokemon at the same time. So, we lost Heavy Ball, Level Ball. There's some of your search right back, at least for fighting Pokemon, Karina. So I believe that's everything. Kind of an overview of all sorts of new changes that are coming up this season. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative. Everything can be confirmed on the Pokemon.com website, so check that out if you're curious about actually reading the rotation for yourself. And if you have any questions, PM, email, or comment below. Thanks everyone for watching.